Hello and welcome to another IGN Give This a 7, but is it really though? A little bit of housekeeping. I'm still learning how to use OBS. I've recorded this video a couple of times and I'm really struggling to speak today. Part of it is I've got a splitting migraine. The other part, my lips seem to be sticking together. Don't know why. I've had a drink. It's not really actually doing anything. But the housekeeping part is I'm still learning how to use OBS. I recorded the video the first time and the screen was like majorly cut off and I don't know how that even happened. The second time I just was starting to really struggle to speak. And I also should mention they've done a patch recently to add some new colours for the characters, and it's making the game run like crap. It's freezing all the time. I actually had issues when I played through the game the first time. I beat a boss by having to connect my keyboard as a second controller because my actual character on my controller, the boss knocked me off the stage and I literally didn't respawn. Didn't matter what happened, like I still had health left or lives or whatever the case was. It just would not let me respawn, and there's a lot of issues I've got with this game. And you might be thinking already that you know the rating, which I am so brain fried at the moment, just in case I didn't see it, and if I already did, then just excuse it. But this is a welcome back to IGN Give This a 7, but is it really though? I'm kind of going to say, and I'm going to start that early by saying, yes, I'm officially saying it's a 7. I honestly might be saying that it's a 6, but that might be a little unfair because it does have some really good stuff about it, but I'm going to waffle a little bit first, because you might have noticed there's quite a few beat-em-ups gone up, and it's something I'm noticing as well. The amount of beat-em-ups that IGN gives a 7 to, and it confuses the hell out of me, because saying that this is the same exact quality as Absalom, or Streets of Rage 4, or I think Brawl Brothers is one that I found as well from the Super Nintendo, part of the Rushing Beat series. I hope I'm not mixing the names up, but I've gone through, and there's more as well. There's more that I sadly can't remember due to the migraine scenario of things. But there's so many beat-em-ups that they've given, and it does make me wonder exactly who gets to review certain games, because anyone who actually knows anything about a beat-em-up, anyone who likes this genre, is going to be able to tell you the differences, and going to be able to tell you which a good one is, which a mid one is, and which a bad one is. I have played through a bunch recently over the past year, actually. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, Alien vs Predator, some that I'd never played before. Funnily enough, some like Rushing Beat series. I've played through a bunch of console ones, a bunch of arcade ones, and Marvel Cosmic Invasion feels like an old beat-em-up, and I don't mean that in a good way, because there are a lot of older beat-em-ups out there, like Alien vs Predator, which are really, really good games even by today's standards. And then you've got Marvel Cosmic Invasion, which is just, it wanted to be a fighting game. I'm absolutely positive it wanted to be a fighting game. Beat-em-ups, as I've already mentioned, are kind of repetitive anyway. You don't get a lot of enemy variety, mission variety. You're doing a lot of the same things over and over and over again. The entire point of Marvel Cosmic Invasion is all about, look at how many characters we've got and look at all the things that you're doing. And it's like, yeah, but at the same time, I'm also still just doing the same thing over and over and over again. And the repetition set in even worse with this, because having to grind up so many characters, having such little enemy variety, having a very bleh story, to be honest. Like, I kind of genuinely didn't really pay much attention to it. I do like, at least from one point of view, I like the fact that to get the most out of the story, it tells you which characters to pick for which mission, but then that just means that you're kind of stuck in this loop of, if you don't like a character, you kind of have to play as them, or you need to then go back and grind the characters you do like up, and again, it's just so much adds to the repetition, and I swear it just feels like the game wanted to be a fucking fighting game. Beat-em-ups only ever used to have the slow but powerful one, the speedy but weak one, and the all-rounder. And they did that so they could focus on giving you enemy variety, mission variety, actual, like, trying to expand the game. There's just too many characters. There's so too many characters. I really wish we could have got, like, even 2 more stages. Probably would have just fleshed it out enough to the point that I would have enjoyed it more. Give me 2 more stages. Make the challenges, which I haven't got to the challenges yet, I'm about to, make the challenges way better, or give us more general ones, or more for specific characters. Just give us more actual content to play, instead of 15 or so characters, I think it's 15. Give us 5 less characters, because now the problem is, and I haven't forgot about the challenges, but now the problem is, I fear that when they do DLC, we've already had a patch that give us more colours, because that'll fix this game, that's what it needs. The fact that it's also hilariously broken the game for me, and it just keeps freezing all the time, it's, yeah. Although at the moment, this is actually the longest it's went without freezing, so, I don't know. But it worries me that when we finally get DLC, instead of giving us stages, instead of giving us actual content, you're just going to give us another 5 characters, because that's what this game needs. More reasons to replay the same boring missions that I've been playing over and over and over again to grind up new characters. It's annoying. So, the challenges I'm going to mention here. There's defeat 10 enemies using Wolverine's Ferrule, defeat 10 enemies using Electric Bombs of Storm, and free all mutants from the factory. Of which there's only 2 in this mission anyway. So, all mutants or both mutants. This is what I mean. Stuff doesn't feel fleshed out. But even worse, it's the fact that every character gets at least 1 challenge. I think only 2 or 3 get 2. But anyone who hasn't played this game, this is a genuine challenge. I'm going to first say, clear your mind, don't let me influence you. Captain America. What do you think of when you think of Captain America? Everyone knows he always throws enemies into pits. He's got a shield, he never uses it, he doesn't need it. Shields don't help you throw enemies into pit. Every single person knows that Captain America is infamous for throwing enemies into pits. This is everything that Captain America does. Like, how many issues in the comics it revolves around the biggest weakness is that he needs to throw someone in a pit and he just can't, because throwing people in pits is what he does. In case you haven't realised that severe amount of sarcasm, that's Captain America's challenge in this game. Throw enemies into a pit. Why? What exactly about that is Captain America? Like, why? It feels like the people who made this really wanted to do, as I say, a fighting game, but it feels like they wanted to do justice to a load of Marvel IPs, but then they just didn't. There's so many things, like, the characters play, the characters, like, look great, the sound well, that, like, you get a bunch of very famous moves. However, Spider-Man is awful at aerial combat, which really pisses me off because I am a Spider-Man fan. And I don't know why. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. But I really cannot stand playing as Spider-Man on any mission where there's a bunch of aerial enemies, because he's just not fucking good for aerial combat in this game. Which is wild, because he's fucking Spider-Man. He's kind of used to web swinging and fighting people in the air. He fights the fucking Vulture. Anyway, so as you can probably tell, I have thoughts on this game. I have opinions on this game. I want to say I like it, and I might be coming off as too harsh because I do kind of like it. I played through it all. I enjoyed it at times. I'm not going to say I enjoyed all of it, but I enjoyed it at times. But it is, without a shadow of a doubt, the worst of the .emu beat-em-ups in my mind. And it's why, again, this is part of the reason why I actually wanted to do this, the IGN give it a 7 thing. Because I really wanted to see if sometimes they were just giving 7s for the meme of it. And beat-em-ups feel like that's one of those genres. Like, Concord and Highguard, just, like, both got 7s. At least they're both hero shooters, and I'm not going into the discourse around those, because firstly, the whole Concord thing was people hated it because it was woke, and then Highguard people hated it for the fact that Jeff Keighley kind of did the nepotism plug for it, even though the devs didn't ask for it, so I feel bad for the devs. But at the same time, the game is utterly mid anyways, so it's like, yeah, you don't deserve all the hate you're getting, but your game isn't exactly good. Well, it's, I guess 7 on their scale is good, but I personally don't even think I'd rate that a 7. I am not playing Highguard for this series. I do not play competitive multiplayer games anywhere, and I really have no interest in that. So, part of why I wanted to look into this whole IGN give it a 7, but is it really though, is, as I say, to see if sometimes they were just doing it for the meme of it, or to try to figure out the logic behind some of their 7s, and in this case, either they wrote the whole thing and did the whole video review and they were like, no one's going to care anyway, we'll just give it a 7. Just for the lols. Or apparently they really do think that all beat-em-ups are the exact same quality and caliber, no matter how different they are. Which is really bad for a video game reviewer, because I don't think there's a single genre, and I know there's a lot of people who hate sports games, but be honest, even if you hate sports games, do you genuinely believe that every NHL is the same as every NBA, is the same as every Madden, is the same as every FIFA? Now, granted, we are in a world now where all sports games, I personally think, are awful. Firstly, I dislike the fact that they've all went into realistic gameplay. I play games to relax, and I want arcadey fun. I don't want stressful realism. And secondly, they're just gambling simulators. They just are. But that's a rant for a different video. My point to circle back is, I genuinely don't see how, if you like beat-em-ups, or even if you didn't like beat-em-ups, you can't see the difference in caliber between a Streets of Rage 4 and a Marvel Cosmic Invasion. This entire thing just confuses me. But I think I'm done. So I'm going to reiterate and say IGN give this a 7. I'm going to be fair and say yes, it's a 7. I'm going to reiterate and say, if somehow the dev of this game is watching it, please make more content for your game. Please. Don't give me 5 more characters. I don't want 2 new mutants, 2 new oddballs, and a guest character. I don't want to pay the same price of the game to get 5 more characters. I will pay money for your DLC. But give me stages. Give me challenges. Give me reasons to actually fucking play the game. And maybe give me reasons to actually level up the rest of the roster. Because that's part of the problem I have with leveling up the roster. The fact that I don't want to play such a pitiful handful of missions that are so samey and boring in places over and 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 over again until I've leveled up all of the 15 characters. That is not my idea of fun. I understand if you were designing it that way because you think that people will spend years coming back to this game because that's what people do with beat-em-ups. I've replayed Streets of Rage so many times it's unbelievable. Not 4, like, yes 4, but the entire trilogy before 4, I replay them every couple of years. I understand from that mindset if that's why you put that many characters in. But your game isn't good enough to be at this level. I've beat it, and I don't see me picking it up again. Ever, to be honest, because at no point did this give me any form of fix. I was in a beat-em-up mood when it came out, and I didn't feel satisfied by the time I was done, so why would I want to constantly replay it? And ultimately, if I don't feel satisfied, this is why I think, if anything, I'm being more than fair by saying, yeah, this is a 7, because to be honest, it's probably a 6 for me. But yeah, with that done then, and a load of waffling done. On the plus side, this is at least the best I've actually done this video, and believe it or not, the least amount that I've waffled. So yeah, until next time, this has been Sky Fellowship, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. And I think my game's froze once again as I've went to hit stop recording. How do you break a fucking game by adding colours? How? What? Bye.